Good morning, good morning, good morning, my friend. How the heck are you? Still getting used to some of this stuff. Drop me a note in the chat, drop me a note in the comments, let me know where you are watching. I've got this thing going all over the place. So, yeah. I think,
Good morning.
yeah, I need to, whoa, settle that down, get that volume down over there, or else we are going to be doubling up a little bit. So I think I got the ability to show Facebook comments here now. I don't really know. Good morning, my friends. So welcome to Men Up with Mike. My name is Mike Cameron, and I am your host. This is the show where we talk all things leadership, personal development, and how to become that best version of you, all through the lens of what it means to be a man, what it means to be a dude, and talk about some of the societal pressures that get put on us as dudes as to how we show up. So, once again, I hope you will drop me a note in the comments, in the chat box. I will do my best. Good morning, Michelle. Michelle is on the website. Thank you so much. Good to see you there. I am also looking to see, so bear with me. I am looking to see that I think I got it set up so the Facebook comments feed in here. If not, I will do my best to try and find them and respond as best I possibly can. But I would sure appreciate it if you'd hop over to mikecameron.ca and join me there. Look at that. Okay, so we got one comment over here. Whoop. That I am going to have to find. There we go. Let's mute that sucker. And Wes, good morning, Wes. Wes is here on Facebook. Whoo-wee. Good day on mike.ca. Nice. I love it. That's the problem. You can do sort of anonymous comments on there. I'm not quite sure who good day on mike.ca is, but that sounds an awful lot like Don. Don, no. That sounds like something Don would do. So today, I want to share with you. Hey, good morning, Mitch. Thanks so much for showing up, brother. It is good to see you here. I am playing around with this stuff. Today, I want to share with you 3 words that will change your life. And we are live in 0 seconds because we're live now. We're having a conversation. And good morning. And I should have known that was Anne. What was I thinking? Dawn, you and Dawn would get along well, I feel. I feel like you guys have a very similar sense of humor. Wes, what is going on this morning? It is good to see you here. And I will finally get this technology sorted out. So, once again, guys, the show is brought to you by mikecameron.ca. I would appreciate it if you guys would pop over there, sign up for the community, jump in, join the conversation. Hey, Garth, how you doing, brother? Good to see you over on the website. I am so appreciative. Some of the things that I talk about, some of the content that I put out, some of the worksheets and things that I'm going to reference will be up on the mikecameron.ca website. You will have to be a registered member. It is completely free to do so, but I would really love to get the conversation going over on mikecameron.ca. Again, to my point yesterday, we talked about that speak to an audience of one, perform for that audience of one, whether that's you or the one individual in front of you. And quite frankly, I'm a little tired of trying to play the big social media game, the Facebooks, the LinkedIns, the Instagrams, and trying to put out content that garners likes and followers and all that kinds of things, where I think we can do a much better job in that intimate setting of mikecameron.ca, and I can really provide detailed, direct, one-on-one value to you, the listeners. So I don't know if it's a great business strategy or not, but I'm really trying to narrow my focus a little bit and do my best to provide immense amount of value for those that show up. That's really what it's all about for me, is how can I provide value in your life? How can I create conversations that change lives? That's what it's all about, creating conversations that change lives. You know, through some of my coaching programs, I get to see that on a regular basis. I get to see that. Last night we had a conversation, and one of the guys that I'm working with said, you know what? He said, honestly, I have gotten more done in 5 weeks than I have all year. And that makes me proud. That makes me feel good. That makes me know that I don't necessarily need to talk to 10,000 people. I just need to talk to one. And today, my friend, I'm talking to you. Today, I am going to share with you 3 words that will change your life. Absolutely guaranteed, 100%. I've talked about this a little bit before. Anne says she needs to get used to this chat that is low on the page. Wes, stick 'em up. Anne says she needs to get used to this chat that's low on the page. And I'm going to play around. I'll have my design team play around with the chat, the layout, that kind of thing. And we can grow and learn together. But I do appreciate your patience, and I do appreciate you being here. So let's get to it, shall we? Hey, Brian, how are you, man? How are you? Good to see you here. While you guys are here, once I'm done here streaming, go hop on the sign in button or log in button and create yourself an account, and you can see all the member stuff that I will have, some of it behind the membership site. And again, membership's completely free. The intent here is not to monetize the membership, but it's really just about creating a smaller, intimate community where we can share best practices, like-minded individuals, where we can share best practices and learn and grow together, because that is where the magic happens, my friends. And especially with guys, when men come together with intention, good things happen. All right, so yes, I'm fired up. Let's take a pause. Practice that pause. The 3 words that will change your life are these. Thoughts are optional. Thoughts are optional. I'm going to open up a worksheet that I've got done here. I don't know if I'll share it with you via this screen, or maybe I will upload it later and you guys can have a look. You can download it if it's something that resonates with you. I've talked about this before. I've called it the stories we tell ourselves. I've talked about the meaning that we attach to events. But it all comes back to this concept, this 3-word concept. Thoughts are optional. We get to choose what we think. Sorry, guys, I'm going to come back and try. Okay, no, it's not pulling the Facebook comments. I thought maybe. Thoughts are optional. We have the ability to choose what we think. We have the ability to choose the meaning that we attach to the events in our life. We have the ability to choose the story that starts spinning in our head. And I've used this example before when I talk about the story in our head. And when we think about a partner, a loved one that we're expecting to come home at a certain time, and when they don't come home on time, when they're late, we haven't heard from them, we don't know what's going on, we don't know where they are, we were expecting them at 5 o'clock, it's now 6:30, we haven't heard from them. We have the ability to choose the story that plays in our head. We have the ability to choose the meaning we give that. We have the ability to choose the thoughts that generate in our mind. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't easy to do, but it is simple. It's simple, but it's not easy. So think about that example. Your partner's running late. You're expecting them home at 5 o'clock. It's now 6:30. What are the thoughts that go through your mind? Oh my God, they're cheating on me. They're seeing somebody else. They're having an affair. What does that do to your emotional state? Or maybe the thought is, holy shit, they've been in a terrible car crash. Something terrible has happened. They're not home. I don't understand. Where are they? Why aren't they home? And we start to go through those iterations of thought. What if our thoughts are, well, knowing them, they probably stopped somewhere to pick me up a present, a gift. They're doing something thoughtful for me. They just forgot to relay that they're going to be a little bit late. What do those thoughts do to your emotional state? Again, we have the opportunity to choose the thoughts that go through our mind, to create the story that we tell ourselves, to create the meaning that we attach to the event. It's simple, but it's not easy. What is the meaning? What are the thoughts that we attach to events? So the question then becomes, if it's simple but not easy, how do we get there? How do we do this? How do we get to a point where we can start to control our thoughts, where we can start to choose, actively choose the thoughts that we put in our brain? Once again, it's all about practice. You guys have heard me talk about this before. Practice, practice, practice. It's not about trying, it's about practicing. So again, how do we do that? I'm going to give you I'm going to give you, wait, I got to put my coffee down. I'm going to give you a six-step process. Anne says, perhaps it's because I live in Toronto, but when someone is late, my first thought is that they're stuck in traffic. They have construction 12 months a year. Absolutely, Anne. So there's a meaning that you attach to it. That's a pretty benign meaning. It's a pretty neutral meaning. It's pretty neutral thoughts, and that's a great thing. That doesn't start to hijack your emotional state. That's a great thing. So how do we practice? The six things I gave you, we're going to give you with 4 fingers. And again, most of these you've heard me talk about before. So bear with me. I'm just trying to get my orientation straight here on my big screen monitor, my multi-monitors. I got 3 monitors. I'm looking at you guys all over the place here. Looking at you all over the place. Once again, if you're just hopping on, join me over at mikecameron.ca/live, or just go to mikecameron.ca, the homepage, and there's a big button that says Men Up with Mike. So guys, again, I want to talk specifically to you and the challenges around doing this, the challenges around attaching the meaning, creating the thoughts that actually benefit us. So the 6-step process. This 6-step process, because I got to be formulaic. We got to figure out how to do this. Number 1, step 1, practice the pause. So immediately, when you notice you're having a strong reaction to something, take a breath. Practice that pause. Slow down, part of that SOAR framework. Step 2, identify the trigger. What was the thing that caused that reaction? Maybe it's obvious, maybe it's not. Identify the trigger. So you've recognized the emotional reaction. You've practiced that pause, taken a breath. You've spent some time looking at, okay, what was that trigger? What was that? Now identify the thoughts. What is that story, that tape that's playing in your head? What is the meaning that you give to this event, to this trigger? Step 4, identify the feelings that are coming up. And we can talk more in depth about primary and secondary emotions a little later. I don't think we'll do it today. Mitch says, I know a lot of individuals that create that thought due to past traumas. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Mitch. There's no question. And I'll share one with you when I'm done here. So identify the feelings. What emotions are coming up? How intense are they? Rate them. How intense are they? Are they a 1 or are they a 4? How intense are those emotions? Now, actively practice creating new thoughts. Anchor new thoughts to that trigger. In the case of the loved one being late that I talked about, you expected them at 5, it's now 6:30. You're freaking out because you've started to attach meaning that they've been in a car accident. Practice attaching new thoughts to that trigger. Anchor new thoughts to that trigger. Use ands. They must be stuck in traffic. Step 6, revisit those feelings. When you move those thoughts from, oh my God, they've been in a horrible car crash, to, okay, they must be stuck in traffic. Revisit those emotions. Now what are you feeling? Now what's the intensity? And do that regularly. Practice. So I've created a log, a thought log, that you can actually do this in real time. You know, I mean, it could be as simple as taking your journal and just writing down those 6 things. Practice the pause, identify the trigger, identify the thoughts, identify the feelings and rate them, anchor new thoughts to that trigger, and then revisit that feeling. And as Mitch said, yeah, there's oftentimes our thoughts come as a result of past trauma. I've talked about this one before. You know, for me and Michelle, the text thing. So when Colleen was murdered, I had been texting and I didn't get any response. And I texted and no response, texted, no response. So for me, if I don't get a timely response on text, I start attaching meaning in a horrible way. Something tragic's happened. And I have to catch myself. I have to do exactly this exercise. Thankfully, Michelle is very cognizant of this. And she's very good at sending back a message right away, not leaving me hanging. But if I send a text and I don't get a response for what feels like an inordinate amount of time, I have to actively catch those thoughts. What is the story that I'm starting to tell? Is the story that something horrible's happened? When the reality is, probably nothing horrible has happened. The reality is, she's probably on the phone. She's probably talking to somebody at work. She's probably doing something. She's probably with the kids. So starting to attach those new thoughts to that trigger, now I can start to contain those feelings. Yeah, again, Michelle also tells me when she's going to be away from the phone, she knows that's a raw spot for me. She knows, Mitch, to your point, that past trauma that starts to create those stories. But even recognizing that, Mitch, like, is huge. So that emotion comes up, whatever it is. It's intense. You know it. Take that breath. Practice that pause. Identify the trigger. Like I said, maybe it's obvious. But these triggers aren't always obvious. Sometimes they're more subtle. Sometimes we don't always recognize them. But when we take that pause, as soon as that feeling starts to come, we slow down. We open up, we accept, and we reconnect. We soar. To practice that pause, identify that trigger. Identify those thoughts. Identify and rate the feeling. Attach new thoughts. Revisit the feeling. Lather, rinse, repeat. Do it over and over and over and over and over. All right, my friend. That's it for me today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out here on MikeCameron.ca. I appreciate it. I will drop me a note. Let me know if you're interested in that worksheet. I created a thought log worksheet that goes through those 6 steps where you can actually just write things out. I mean, you don't necessarily need a worksheet. You can just do it in a journal, but sometimes having a worksheet to reference is not a bad thing. So I will upload that on the site, and you know what? Maybe I will attach it to a version of this video so that you can log in and grab that document. So drop me a note. Let me know if that's of interest to you. Michelle and I are heading off to Canmore for the weekend. It's a bit of a working vacation. I still have lots I have to do, but I'm going to be doing it from the mountains. So tomorrow and Friday, I will be broadcasting from somewhere down in Canmore in the mountains, and Michelle is going to join me for at least one of those days. So we will do a joint broadcast together. So if there's anything you want to know from Michelle, let me know. Again, shoot me an email, drop me a note, let me know. And there are times when I'll send a text, then not pick up my phone for a few hours. That said, my friends understand I don't live to get a reply. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I mean, I'm probably more attached to this thing than many, and probably more attached than I should be. All right, my friends, let's see what I can do here as an outro. Maybe we just kind of fade on out. Little music. Oops, that's not what I wanted. That is definitely not what I wanted. How about that? Live in 0. We're live now. All right, my friends, as always, continue to make beautiful shit happen. Have yourself a fantastic day.